Okay, so in last video, we simply understood the basic thing about Python, why we are using it, and we covered these libraries, which I told you are very much important for becoming a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. We talked about these spaces where Python is being used, OpenCV, be it machine learning. We talked about these libraries which are important, which help us to develop things into these fields. Okay, then we were talking about the syntax of Python and why we are convinced to use Python, why we should use Python. So the first place we came up with this example, this example where I told you that writing Python is nothing much than writing everything in simple English. So okay, we talked about these parentheses, we talked about the single quotations, these double quotations, we talked about the slash n, that is new line. Now here we are starting the use of slash n. I told you what is the use of Python. Let's come up over here and just see what is the use of slash n. See, if I'll run this cell, everything is on a single line. Okay. Now what I want this part, this highlighted part to be printed in a new line. Then what I will simply use is slash n. Okay. Now what this slash n is doing, it is creating a new line. It is pushing the content which is after this slash n to a new line. So this is a new line character. Okay. So this is simply putting everything to the new line. See it like say slash n like this. Okay. And now some more topics I want to cover, some more point I want to include in the fact that why we should learn Python. That Python is free and open source, so you don't have to pay for it. And you know what actually is happening under the hood. One more point which I can add is it have an amazing set of tools and libraries that you can use for different tasks, say reading data, manipulating data, building models, and so on. When I say it has amazing set of tools and libraries, then you can see how many libraries related with the field we are having in Python. So basically, this is only a glimpse of the libraries. There are many more. So these are only the important libraries, which if you will know someday, then you will be a great machine learning or data science engineer or data scientist. Okay. Then one more thing I want to include is Python is platform independent. So what do I mean by platform independent? You can run Python on any of the platform, say Mac OS, Windows, Linux. You don't need to worry much about which kind of platform you are using. So this is a brief Python intro and couple of reasons why industry prefer it for data science. Now we will give our valuable time in exploring closely the amazing features of language. Let's go to the point. Just simply come to this content, quick Python content, and click to this variables and data type. Now, what are the variables? Let's understand why do we need them. So, consider a scenario, maybe a scenario where you are having. Let me produce one more cell to explain it more clearly. So, you are having 5 students, and those 5 students are having their marks out of maybe 10. They are 7, 8, 6, 5, 4. So these are the marks of students. So now if I'll ask you to simply tell me the marks maybe of Rohan, and Rohan is a student out of these 5 students. Now you don't know like who is Rohan or what are the marks associated with Rohan, how to access those marks. So the simple concept comes up over here, that is variable. Variable are simply the name assigned to a container. Okay, so not assigned to a container, we can say variable are the containers. Say I'll say Mukesh, and he is having 7 marks. Okay, then I'll say maybe any XYZ, and he is having 8 marks. Maybe Z is having 6 marks, and Rohan is having maybe 5 marks, and some other person that is, we can say, longitude. Longitude is having 4 marks. Okay. Now, if I'll ask you after this, if I'll ask you how much marks Rohan got, simply I'll ask you how marks Rohan got. You can directly access the container Rohan. Directly you can access the container Rohan. Rohan, what is Rohan? Rohan is a variable. This is a variable. So you can see how variable is helping us. That's why we need variable. Variable is simply a name, and a name with some value associated with the name, and or you can see is at a container. Just it's a container, and what will be the type of container you don't know. That I will tell you. That is the data type. Okay, that is the data type of the variable. So we will discuss it furthermore. So there are, so yes, we can say variable are the names, but again there are some rules associated with these variable names, like how we can name a variable. So first thing we have to consider over here is Python is case sensitive. So what I mean to say by the point Python is case sensitive is, say you are having one variable Rohan, which is, maybe you are assigning this variable a value of 5. This 5 can be anything, but it's a value. Okay, so you are assigning a value 5 to Rohan. Now if you want to access Rohan, so it will give you back the value 5. But what if I want to access Rohan with a capital R? Okay, now you cannot access Rohan. Why? Name Rohan is not defined. Why name Rohan is not defined? Because Python is case sensitive. For Python, this Rohan and this Rohan, these two are different variables, and these two are different variable names. So keep in mind Python is case sensitive. So this is lowercase r, this is uppercase r. These two are different thing for Python. You need to understand it, and while naming your variable, keep this point in your mind that Python is case sensitive. And you cannot name a variable like anything. The second point which you should remember while naming a variable is, variable name cannot start with special character except underscore. Okay, underscore is the only correct special character which you can use to name a variable. Let's say I say underscore Rohan equals to maybe 10. Now I will, this is what I'm doing, this is I'm accessing the variable. Accessing the variable means I'm going to the memory location where this variable is saved inside our memory, and we are asking our machine to retrieve the value associated with this variable name Rohan. See, underscore is working fine with Rohan, so this variable name works. Though underscore is a, what we can say, it's a special character, but still it works in Python. But if I will use maybe dollar sign, now I will associate again. This is a variable, so this variable is not defined, or this is invalid syntax. Why? Because remember this point, variable name cannot start with special character except underscore. Nothing you can use except underscore. Maybe I will try to use, see, nothing will work. It will not work because that's the rule. And the third point while naming a variable you should consider is, variable name cannot start with numbers. Say you cannot say 10 row. You cannot say 10 row. It will again give you the invalid syntax. Yeah, though you can say Rohan 10 like this. This is valid. This is valid. Okay, no error thrown. Or you can say Rohan 10. This is valid. Okay. You can say, yeah, this is valid. Again, you cannot start with a number inside the variable, and after the variable you can use the number. That is fine. That is fine. Okay. Now again you can see no special character, neither at the starting nor at the end, except underscore. You can use underscore, but you cannot use any other special character. Okay. See, not even inside, not at the end, and not at the beginning. Neither at the beginning. It will simply throw you invalid syntax. Now, one thing you have to understand is understand reading the error. This is the syntax error, the invalid syntax. So syntax means you missed something while writing the basic concept of Python, which we understood here, the basic syntax. Okay, which I told you, the syntax is very easy to learn because it is simple English, kind of simple English. Okay, so how to declare a variable we have seen, like simple variable name and assigning a value to it. See variable as a container. You are assigning this value to a container. Okay. So what are the data types associated with the variable? So if you are Rohan, so you are a maybe you are a male. If you are if you are maybe any girl, so your name will be of that type. Okay. So there are data type associated with variables. Those data types are integer. A variable can be an integer. A variable can be a float. See, this is float. A variable can be a string. This is a string. This is again a string with double quotations. Okay. And a variable can be a boolean. Boolean is simply a true or false. Okay. So maybe you are a male. Rohan is a male. Okay. True. Rohan is a female. False. This is boolean. 0 or 1. Either it will be true or will be a false. Now I have assigned this variable. Your age 21. It is int data type. This is float data type. Your weight. First name, this is a string. Last name, this is a string too. And true or false, this is boolean. Is your last name same as your first name? No. Why? Because your first name is your name and your last name is, see, say it like this. Okay. First name is same. Okay. Shake it. Different things. These are not same. So it will say false. Okay. Let's run it and say it. How this is work. How this will work. So this time type is used to see the type of your variable. Okay. So these are the variable we have defined. Now we are saying the type of these variables. Just running the cell. Int. This is int data type. This is integer. How we come to know this is integer? See, this is float. We are having a dot over here. This is float. Your first name, that is a string. I told you this is a string. And in double quotations again we are having a string. We can show a string like this too. And this true or false variable name. This is only variable name. Okay, this is only variable name where I'm comparing last name with first name, and it is saying for boolean. It is of type boolean. Okay. Now do one thing. Now do one thing. We will try to print them. Okay, what are the value associated with our variables? We will try to print them. So I will take 1 minute or maybe some seconds to print it. Okay, and then again we have to do this. And copying it. Okay. Oh, this is the problem we are facing. Okay, so here you can see your age is having 21, weight, okay, is Mandal, and if you will see this is saying false. Why it is saying false? Because these two things are not same. First name and last name is not same. Okay, that's why it is saying false. Let me show you like this. First name and last name again I am saying this is this thing. Okay, and what we will do, we will simply copy this thing down here, and after copying it again we are comparing. The double equals to is the comparison operator. Okay, and this is the assignment operator. We are assigning something to this variable. We are assigning Mukesh to this variable, and Mukesh is a string. Now double equal to is the comparison operator. We are simply comparing these two variables and storing whatsoever will be the output to this variable. Okay, so let's print it. Let's print it. Okay, let's print it. It is saying true. Why it is saying true? Because first name and last name both are Mukesh. So it compared both thing and it said yes, they are same, true. This is how boolean works, 0 and 1, true or false. Okay, now again the print, you can use print like this too. Okay, name, your first name and your age. So use of comma, see this is the use of comma. This is the first string we are using, then we are using comma, then your first name, then and your age is comma, your age. Okay, now say it. Name is Mukesh and age is 21. From where it is retrieving these values? Your first name. This is your first name. This is your first name value, that is Mukesh. It is giving us back, and this is our age. Age is assigned over here 21. Okay. So this is how you can retrieve all these things. Okay. Then this is how we can use variables. Now now variable can be of integer type. Variable can be float, string, and boolean. Okay. Now we are having data types associated with variables. So why do we need data type? If we are having variable, then why do we need data type? This is something which we will cover in our next video. Stay safe.